we would wish to invite one of our key sponsors for this event, Cosmos. Yeah, Susan? Susan is around? Thank you very much. Susan, welcome. It's now your time to give a small presentation as we move on with the program. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Is it afternoon yet? It's afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The KMA President, father of KMA, Dr. J. Aloch, KMA President and the executive, distinguished doctors, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Susan Okoma. I'm the Regional Marketing Manager for Cosmos, and we are highly honored to be here with you today as you discuss very important matters. I've learned a lot about the COVID vaccine, so I'll be looking forward to see how that's going to be rolled out and how you're going to play a very key role in ensuring that we are all protected and covered. So just to applaud you as healthcare frontline workers, thank you very much for the good job that you're doing. We really, we are very proud of you. So Cosmos is a pharmaceutical company, local manufacturer, and my presentation is going to be in line with your theme, embracing and harnessing technology. I would like to just take you on the journey of Cosmos by sharing a video of Cosmos. We would like you guys to come to where we are and actually visit the plant and see how these products are locally manufactured and the technology that has been invested and put in to ensure we get quality and affordable medicine. So the video clip, allow me to just engage you for 15 minutes into the video clip to bring the company to you. So that is what the video will be showing you. Then I'll take questions after that. So kindly, please play the video.
We may sit innocuously sprawled in the heart of Kenya's industrial home base, but inside, we are the heartbeat of technology with our finger on the pulse of healthcare that has significantly impacted our region. Behind these walls is the outgrowth of what one man's burning desire to serve the people can accomplish, and how 40 years later, the reality has far surpassed the dream.
It's very important that we build a quality into a product. It is important that people who take our medicines realize Cosmos as a quality company. We could have imported and sold, but you know, we got Kenyans here, they need employment, right? We're a Kenyan company. So that's where we started doing things.
We may sit innocuously sprawled in the heart of Kenya's industrial home base, but inside, we are the heartbeat of technology with our finger on the pulse of healthcare that has significantly impacted our region. Behind these walls is the outgrowth of what one man's burning desire to serve the people can accomplish, and how 40 years later, the reality has far surpassed the dream.
It's very important that we build a quality into a product. It is important that people who take our medicines realize Cosmos as a quality company. We could have imported and sold, but you know, we got Kenyans here, they need employment, right? We're a Kenyan company. So that's where we started doing things, and then we saw slowly that the product's demands were higher. We required more capacity, and we started investing in capacities, investing in plants, pharmaceutical manufacturing facilities. It's a very highly capital investment. That means that every 5 years or something, the rules and things change, so you have to keep up with it. And we started bringing doctors along and seeing how medicines are made. And they were absolutely stunned that this was the process and these facilities existed. We've had people from America, people from the UK, everywhere, and the regulatory authorities coming to see the plant. And you know what? They were really surprised. They thought Africa is a garage, but it's not.
This is the man who began the journey to make Cosmos what it is today.
Cosmos was started by my father, Prakash Patel, who is also a pharmacist. And his vision was always, you know, to start a manufacturing unit. He traveled from India to the UK and then came to Kenya. Most people go the other way around, but he decided this way. He had a small chemist shop in Eldoret, then he moved to Nairobi, and then he decided early in the 70s and 80s that he had a desire to make Kenya self-sufficient in medicines. At that time, Kenya was importing a lot of medicines, yeah? So in 84, we started manufacturing at the present premises, yeah? That's when I came back from England. My background is also a pharmacist. My father decided that we needed to attack 3 pandemic diseases of Kenya that was faced, yeah? So first and foremost was malaria, second was TB, and later on came HIV. And at the same time look at essential medicines. Now, why was he interested in those 3 pandemic diseases? Because he said, this is what Africa is going to need, this is what Kenya is going to need, and we need to do something for the people.
Today, behind these walls is a sprawling enterprise built by Kenyans, owned by Kenyans, and staffed by over 500 Kenyans across all levels.
And at one time, we had about 15 expatriate staffs. And I thought this was not right for Kenya, being a Kenyan company. We really need to look at growing our own talent in Kenya. And we have some really good people. The only thing is they're not been exposed to pharmaceutical manufacturing like India. So what I then decided is that let us get somebody coming and training the people. And we started doing it and it helped. Now at this stage, we're only about 3 to 4 expatriates in the company. And I can see that there's a morale boost in it. People are feeling that they can do it. It's not like it's a domain for an overseas person. And now we've got every product that we manufacture here is in-house. There is nothing like technology transfer.
Cosmos operates a literal world-class facility with a total built-up area above 300,000 square feet, 5 manufacturing blocks, warehouse with over 180 API and 6,000 SKUs, on-site finished goods, marketing and administration offices, staff canteen, ration. Our production capacity is quite wide, with over 1 billion tablets manufactured annually and 20 million packs of medicine sold annually. In addition to being recognized by the Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya and the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, Cosmos also has USAID, WHO, GMP and European Pharmaceutical Inspection Corporation Scheme (PICS).
I see the local industry growing to manufacture more complex molecules, including biological molecules and vaccines, to meet the current needs, the current healthcare needs. We have mastered, simple molecules, the usual medicines, but PSK really hopes to see, more complex manufacturing going on. Cosmos has been an example in manufacturing all these years, and we certainly see them as taking a role in that more advanced kind of manufacturing, and setting up a plant, say for vaccines in Kenya that we need so badly for different vaccines.
These certifications emphasize our deep belief in good manufacturing practice, bolstered by our private and public partnerships.
Cosmos has, always been a company focused on quality. It's the foundation stone of this company, and I think 30 years, 40 years on from when the company started, we've achieved that. People in the market will always perceive Cosmos as a quality product. Even if now when you go across the border to Uganda, Tanzania, you start to, they have the perception that a Kenyan product, a Cosmos product, is on par with the European products, better than the products coming from Asia. And that's exactly what we wanted to achieve. As a company, when it first started, pretty much I'd say 80% of the business was to the government of Kenya. Where you only basically had one big customer, you had a few NGOs here and there. Now, we are one of the leaders in the NCD space. So it is very, very vital for us. As you know, when you have diabetes or cardiovascular, you can't be missing your doses and things like that. It's very important that all of our customers receive their medicines on time and in a timely fashion, because at the end of the day, people's lives are at stake. So it's something that we also now want to concentrate. It's top on our priority that, if you order a Cosmos product, you should have it the next day.
Our trailblazing work led to significant recognition. A key milestone in these recognitions was when Cosmos became the first Kenyan company to be licensed to manufacture HIV medicine, which helped make the medication available at an affordable cost. Every Cosmos formulation has been developed in-house, and even as we focus on new product development, we ensure that we have continual improvement of existing products and processes. Our current therapeutic areas of manufacturing specialization include diabetes, hypertension, antibiotics, anti-inflammatory, HIV, TB, cough and cold, anti-diarrhea and others, as well as veterinary products. These medications have impacted the lives of millions. As a snapshot of that impact, more than 300,000 patients are currently on Cosmos diabetes and cardiovascular medicines countrywide.
Cosmos manufactures more than 250 products. Our formulations for all these products are in-house. So we have a team that looks at what new products are required from marketing. How do we come up with our own formulation? Being a generic company, we don't copy what branded products have done. We come up with our own formulation. So we have to look at the API, we have to look at what excipients are compatible with the API, and then come up with a formulation. When we start from raw materials, we ensure that we are getting our raw materials from qualified manufacturers. When we qualify them, we have seen that they're also maintaining GMP at their premises, so we are getting the right quality of raw materials. During production, we try and maintain GMP in terms of documentation, in terms of record keeping. We make sure that they're following the steps specified in the batch record. So usually all these systems and procedures in place are just to make sure that there is no mix-up, there is no contamination, there is no cross-contamination. So that's how we make sure, though it has the right quality, but it's also safe for the patients to use.
These product lines come together in our cutting-edge facility where best practices are always in place and rolled out. This is from the raw materials warehouse, to the dispensing area, to the segregated liquids area and packing area, to the tablet granulation areas, to tablet compression, tablet coating and segregated tablet packing area, to the finished goods store.
We have SOPs, which are standard operating procedures, in place everywhere in production, from corridors to machine equipments to room entrances. These SOPs are trained to every individual who is operating on that machine or in that area. We also have good practices of record keeping. We have batch records, we have logbooks where you record every activity taking place in a particular location. So in case there's a deviation or investigation, you can always refer to those documentation and pull out data for investigation purposes. We do have skilled personnel in production and also in QA. QA also have IPQA on the shop floor who help in adhering to GMP procedures.
Every single one of these processes is checked by our quality assurance experts to ensure they comply with the highest standards, and before the products are dispatched, they go one final series of tests. All these tests have elaborate tracking across the entire production chain.
Quality can never be inspected, it has to be built into a product. We must be able to do our testing and to be able to certify ourselves that the quality meets our standards. What kind of standards do I mean? When we get the raw materials, we have specifications that either they are complying to the British Pharmacopoeia that serves the European region, or those that comply to the United States Pharmacopoeia that serves the USP or the United States region. Our analytical systems, they are on a very strict software called Chromerion, that is for the HPLCs. It is able to capture all the details, any input, whether you log in, log out, whether you do an analysis, it's going to tell me who did the analysis, when, what actions did they do. It is able to capture that and give me as a printout report, which we can be able to print and attach. Even if an inspector will be able to come and they were not here during the testing, they're able to get the history of what happened without a shadow of doubt.
Only when the quality compliance team are satisfied are our products packed and dispatched across the country and across borders of 12 countries in Eastern, Central and Southern Africa, delivering them to thousands of satisfied healthcare facilities and healthcare professionals ranging from NGOs, hospitals and clinics, wholesalers, chemists and agrovets, retail and supermarkets, as well as governments.
Since inception at Haltons, we have been using Cosmos products. So it's like more than 7 years because we trust their products and also their prices are competitive. I would urge everyone to partner with Cosmos because they have nice products. I had an opportunity to visit their plant at industrial area, and I can attest that the processes that their drugs undergo, they are thorough. So you are assured of quality products when you are dealing with Cosmos.
All this technology comes hand in hand with sustainability. Cosmos has embraced these as seen by its investments in solar utilities, a water plant and boiler, and other 21st century solutions such as the BMS room.
We are using one-of-a-kind system for water purification, whereby we are able to monitor all the trends in the water plant. We are able to log automatically. Whenever there is a problem with our water, our system will be able to tell us right away what is the problem. Also on our HVAC system, we are currently working on a BMS system, that is a building management system, where we are able to get real-time trends as it happens, real-time alarms, and also we are able to make sure that our system can be visualized wherever we are.
At Cosmos, we have the place, the people, the processes, the strive for perfection and the purpose to not just continue being the market leader in the region, but to give the people of Africa good health through quality products that are accessible to all at an affordable price. So partner with us today.
Prescribe or use a Cosmos product, you know you're buying Kenya and building Kenya. So to sum up, we have quite a number of products in therapeutic. Just engage with our products and we'll be happy to serve you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Susan, on behalf of Cosmos for a good presentation. We can appreciate Susan once more. Thank you very much. Oh, and thank you too for keeping time. In the interest of time, I'm going to invite on to the podium a representative from KCB, Kenya Commercial Bank, Mr. Timothy, to give us a small presentation on investments and bonds, and to give us a small brief on healthcare financing, among other. As he goes to make his presentation. Okay, welcome, Timothy.
Thank you so much, Daktari. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. There's a president, vice president, and all the way down, and everyone else. Good afternoon. Yes, my name is Timothy Masharia. I'm very glad to be here. I know the previous two sessions were very scientific, and I think this one, what I'm going to present here, brings some little bit of a breather. I feel like I should graduate with some medical certificate. I have had a lot of medical knowledge, and I thank you so much. The presenters before me were fantastic. They have given us immense knowledge, and I really appreciate, and I'm very grateful for the association for inviting us here. I work at KCB Capital. KCB Capital is a subsidiary of KCB Bank. We do investments from individual level to corporate level. We do advisory for companies. We do investment for individuals. And I'm just going to turn you through investment is a very wide area, and a lot of things interact, but I'm just going to narrow it down and just give you some insight, and I hope by the end of these presentations we'll all have derived some value and even bettered our financial wellness. I know we talk about medical wellness, exercise, and everything, and sometimes we tend to forget about finances, which is very critical, and also they can really affect even our health if you're not careful. So I think, as I said, we are from KCB Capital. This is the KCB Capital structure, and I think just a little bit to touch on it. KCB Capital, I said, is a subsidiary of KCB Bank. We have those two divisions, which is advisory and brokerage. If you like brokerage side, that's why we have executions and trading of equities and bonds. And then there is research. Research is what helps people make decisions. We provide you with insights that make you or give you a better insight in what investment class you're putting yourself in. Then from there we have the normal execution of bonds and equities. Now when you've decided to invest, then that is where execution comes in. Then we have financial advisory in terms of risk analysis, security selection, portfolio constructions, and portfolio management. How do you then, after research and everything, then how do you allocate your resources or your money to different classes of assets that suits your risk and preferences. Then on the other side, we have advisory. And advisory, I think, on the program, I think I've been told that there was a topic or a touch-up on startup funding, and that is where we come in. That is advisory, that is financial advisory and capital markets. Capital markets is the normal capital securities, maybe you want listing, syndicated loan, corporate bonds, and all that. Then there's that side of financial advisory, and that is where now startup funding comes. And if you have a startup, you understand that the main issue, and let me say this, and I think I need to touch that part of startup funding at this area. I know we are here. I think we have even people with private hospitals, and funding is available. The issue with funding, and I need to put something here into perspective. This funding has a cost, and everyone who is putting money expecting a return. So a lot of our companies, especially local companies, whether it's a hospital or whatever manufacturing company, they are not what we call investor ready. For you to be investor ready, what are you talking about? You're talking about that your business or your hospital has to have some structure that this person who is coming from outside comes and looks at that structure and is convinced that I'm putting my money here and is in safe hands. And some of those things are very basic. For example, if you have a hospital and you're looking for funding, you're talking about something like, do you have a board of that hospital. So that if I come here and tell you, give me the minutes of the last board meeting, how many board members are here? What are their qualifications? Do you do filing? Do you pay tax? Right? So that if I am coming and I know that I don't put my capital here, then tomorrow KRA is running the business and we are closed and my capital goes. So a lot of this funding, especially private, they're done by companies called private equity. These are people who go raise money from a pool of investors. Then they go looking for business to put money. And there are so many. We have even a lot of interest from other countries. There's a lot of foreign funding. It's called the FDI, foreign direct investments. But these people, there are some structures, and that is where I think there's a bit of some misinformation on what we're supposed to do. So what happens is, these people to the bottom, they are looking for one, a business that has a business case. I mean that by maybe a business that is profitable. The second thing, they are looking at business that can be scalable. They put in money here with an expectation that maybe in 5 years' time, this business will grow, and that we'll be able to multiply our investment. I see that during that presentation of Cosmos, you realize there's a guy there from Halton Pharmacy. Halton Pharmacy was a small pharmaceutical. There was another, there are investors that came. They gave them funding, and I think Halton's is now in every corner of this country. So on startup funding, the basic things and the basic fundamentals, and if you have a business on a private clinic, it's very good to put that house in order. Order from the structure of business. Do you have a board of directors? It's very important. How is your business registered? Do you do this in the right way? Do you file tax in time? Because someone from US who is coming, he doesn't want to learn in problems with regulation. So he will not risk any capital from doing things that are not very straightforward. So that is where our advisory services come. If you feel that you're not very investor ready. Investor ready is being in that position that you'll attract investment. That is where we come in. You should be able to put everything records. We don't have records. Do you have a system? How do you report? Do you have an accounting? Do you do audit? Right? How are your supplies? Do you have leakages? How are your staff qualified? Those are very basic level. You might have everything, but you don't have documentation. So me coming from outside, I am not sure how to start. I'm not sure what to pick from a hospital. You can tell me I'm profitable. Where is the proof you're profitable, right? You can be exaggerating numbers. Do you have records? Such things are very, very important. It's called being investor ready. There's a discussion that we always give to our investors, to be investor ready. And then that part of startup funding is very important. I know we are all medical profession practitioners, and especially medicine. Medicine, in terms of funding, is classified as impactful investing. And a lot of funders are looking for investment that does not only return profit, but have impact to the society. It's called impact investing and sustainable investing. You are looking not just to put money, but you are looking money that has impact to the society. They improve the livelihood and the wellness of the society. So there is money outside there. A lot of private equities are looking somewhere to put money. There's another, I think, pharmaceuticals called Good Hope. Good Hope Pharmaceuticals. They received a good funding from Catalyst Capital. And these pharmaceuticals are there. And this is somewhere you can tap and really scale up. But to the minimum, put things in order. Put things in order. You can contact us. We have a department on financial advisory. They'll be able to assist you around how then do you become investor ready. There are some forums of these investments, private equity funds. Just make time to attend those investments. Those people have money. They're just looking somewhere to deploy. And even if they are target to make sure that this money is deployed, it's just a matter of, are you ready to get that money? It's just basic things, making sure that everything, someone comes from outside there, he understands your business and he buys your story. That is it. So that part, I think, it was very important, because I understand there are part of us that are in private practice, and our businesses are good, and we would like to scale and extend that medical services to the wider region and wider population. So it's also good as even as you set up your private clinics or your private business, you think of how to scale up, how to make it bigger, how to make it grow. You start from those basics of, are you investor ready? Money is there. There's available funding, even the banks and everything. There's alternative sources funding. There's a lot of money outside there. Even there's what we call development funding, development institution funding, DFIs. So these are institutions that come to look for impactful investing where they can put their money. So I think we can go to the next slide, please. So that is it as much as I think, I know, let me, just before I go to the other side, is there any questions pertaining to, I think, that part of funding, startup funding? All right, let's just close, okay, all right. Task is in, I think, Lambo, they are in is bad situation. Because growth is not just growth. Growth has to be sustainable. And what sustains growth? In business and in corporate finance, there's a formula that growth is a factor of one, the retention ratio, and multiplied by the rate of return. That retention ratio is the part I want to talk about. If you see this formula here about sustainable growth, this is in terms of personal wealth. And I'm bringing it to your to individual level. Personal wealth, I know is personal, right? I see here we are a diversified group of people. We have women, we have men, we have young and old. So there is no a clear way I can tell you that this is how you do your personal wealth. But there are some basics. It's personal. I know we are affected by different things and different scenarios. But personal wealth is a factor of savings. Savings is very important. Savings is very, very important. And we are not disciplined enough to do it. Savings, if you see the formula down here, is equals to your earnings, whatever you earn from business, from your profession, minus your what you spend, or what I call your ego. Savings is your earnings minus your ego. What you feel you have to have. And spending is a deep hole that has no end. You can spend anything. You can buy a yacht. You can build mansions and mansions. But if you don't save, there's no growth. If you don't save, there is no growth. You can grow by leverage, that is by taking a loan, but that is not sustainable. When you grow without that aspect of savings, or what we call retention ratio, out of your earnings, how much are you retaining for the future? Then that is not sustainable. You will grow, but then you have problems of that growth. You will not be sustainable. It goes for 3 years, then it'll be like, just this fire that blows up and then it's off. So savings is a very critical element of sustainable growth. Even in our profession, let it be conscious, let it be intentional for you to save. You don't have to save for anything. You don't have to have a reason why you're saving. But as long as you retain some money out of your earnings, it is very critical, and it will help you even in terms of your investment. If you want to put a business, then there's what we call equity. And even if the bank, I have my colleagues who are in a bank, there's something called equity. Even if you're averaging, you have to have equity, because then that de-risks the project. Even the people like the private equity I was talking about, if they want to come put money in your business, you have as an aspect of equity, as an aspect of de-risking them. And then that is now what you have put aside. So savings is very important. And I cannot insist that enough. I know, especially maybe for the young people, you're earning, you're in job, and you want to catch up with, a 50-year-old who has practiced medicine all his life. You want to drive a Range Rover tomorrow, you want to live in Muthaiga tomorrow, it's okay. In fact, as long as you have a salary, today you can live in Lunda, right? You can go to a bank, we offer very good mortgage rates, get a mortgage, live in Karen. Go to RMA, get a Range Rover, 0 mileage. It's okay. But ask yourself, is that sustainable? Right? Is that sustainable? Especially to the young crew. You want to compete with, I seen a good friend doctor there. Yeah? He has gray hair. My friend, he's not working at 26. You want now to drive a V8 like himself. Right? That is now where we go wrong. And I have a policy, and I do a lot of investment talks. But I tell people this: don't compete with people playing a different ball game. If I see Daktari here buy a car, I don't know where he has gotten the money, right? So, but I want to compete with him. It's like you want to compete, you're learning in Nakuru, but you want to compete with someone learning in Kasarani. That is not possible. You have to personalize your issues. And don't be, what do we call it? Don't be affected by things happening outside your line of finance. Take that as your world and be comfortable with it. Contentment, right? And people who have lived longer, and especially the older, get a wealth of knowledge from them, because I know they have learned their time, and they have wealth of in terms of knowledge, where they did mistakes and where they did, and they can really advise you. Let's go to the other slide, please. So these are. I want just to highlight some things here. That I think this slide is important because I want to go to the equities and bond segment, but I want to go through this investment slide because I feel that maybe it's important for this segment of personal finance. If you look at that that quote on that side, it says that it's not about how much you make, or how much, it's not about whether you're light or long, but how much you make when you're right, and how much you lose when you're long. That matters. That is very critical. I know we all have, I know investment is not scientific. And you scientists, you can't afford mistakes because lives are at stake. How you do heart surgery in India, I know is not different from how you do it in Kenya. There are some basic principles. But when it comes to investment has a lot of gray areas. And you can agree with me. Sometimes there are no light and long answers. Because investment involves predicting the future. And we all know here how difficult it is to predict the future. From the days of the weatherman, when he said it will rain, then it is sunshine the whole day. It will be windy, then the weather is calm. There's no one who can predict the future. And that is what investment tries to do. Because there are a lot of interjectories that collide that affect your investment. There's economics, there's politics, there is psychology, there is people's behavior, and there is just a lot of things. So we try to put it this way, that investment is a game of odds or probability. And what we strive to do is to increase our probability of gaining. Okay? There is no right and wrong answers. If Daktari here decides that he wants to buy land, and I say I want to go to stock market, another person decides, I want to expand my clinic. We are right? But then, how much we make when you're right and how much we make when you're wrong, that at the long run, that is what determines who was successful. Problem with investing is we realize mistakes in hindsight when they already happened. I'll ask Doctor here, what's your risk appetite? And he's not even sure what is risk appetite. How much can you lose? He's not sure. But the moment you lose $1 million there, you realize, I was not ready for that. So these are things you realize in hindsight. So it's good to realize how investment world unfolds. And these points I've written here will really help you in making such decisions. Number one, power of consistency. It's good to be consistent. Consistent in whatever you're doing. Consistent in saving. Be consistent. Because at the end of the day, time is the winner. Time. If you start investing, saving 10,000 today, at the end of the month, at the end of the year is 120,000. At the end of the 10 years plus investing, it will be huge money. So time. I know we want instant gratification. I want to be a millionaire tomorrow. But sometimes things don't work like that. Time and patience is ultimate winner. Then margin of safety. And imagine sort of what I mean. Don't stake everything. Don't stake everything. Because that staking everything, then there's something I call avoid ruin at all cost. Because it affects your perception on any other investment, and it can make you lose appetite for investing forever and over, amen. So you have to be keen about margin of safety. Have a margin of safety. Have a fallback. It's very important. Don't take everything. Be conscious. And that is why I was insisting that point of savings. Have a margin of safety. If you're putting something in some investment, make sure that if it falls, you're not ruined. And then just look at what is the probability of falling. If it is too high, I want to say this. I know all of us maybe have done medical statistics. And in the book, you'll do a very good probability mathematics, and you understand what probability means. But when you are doing your own decisions, your mind is not wired to interpret probability. If I tell you that something has a 60% odd of success, a lot of people will think it has a 60%, it is 100%. If I say it's 20, you interpret it 0, right? When we're thinking about decisions in personal level, we think about will it fail? It's a black and white agenda, right? But there are a lot of gray areas. So it's good to have a margin of safety. Number 3 is a survival mindset, and that is what I call avoid losing at all costs. Then wealth is not what you do. Wealth is what you don't see, and that is very important. And especially to us doctors, sometimes because we are so busy, we don't take that time to think about wealth and how it affects us and how it lands. Wealth is what you don't see. What do I mean? If today I went to Toyota Kenya and bought a car, I have car, not the money, right? So it's you to decide, you want the car or the money. A lot of people invest in signals, what we call signals of wealth. Because I want to be perceived successful, and I think someone who is successful has a Range Rover, so I buy a Range Rover. So what have I done? I'm showing you I'm successful by spending that success, right? I want to show you I have money by spending that money. No, it doesn't work like that. Avoid investing in signals of wealth and invest in real wealth. That is very important, because a lot of us, especially in the young generation, we want to be like Jay-Z. And I want to buy a branded t-shirt. T-shirt is a t-shirt. It's not whether it's a brand of Gucci or whatever. It has a plain, no label like mine. But I think that if I wear Gucci, my sister here will see like, you know, I have made it, right? But t-shirts are t-shirts, right? So delinking signals and wealth is very important. So that as you're making decisions, you know, am I investing in wealth or signal of wealth? The other point is tail event. And to that point of probability, I want to say this. I know we are versed with a lot of probability distributions, but money and finance doesn't follow the normal distributions we know. Money follows what we call Pareto distribution. And Pareto distribution is what we call a low probability, high impact. It's a tail event, meaning that a small decision or a small thing with low probability can affect you all your life. And something maybe I can relatably to low probability events like coronavirus. The probability of a pandemic is what? Very minimal, right? But you can see the impact. That's the same thing with money. Something happens to you, you didn't even think about it, you have not even thought about it, you ignored it, but then, because it had low probability, I mean, something with a probability of 1% happening, you can't think about it, right? But then if it happens, it clashes you, you can never rise again. So it's good we think about those probability events. What can go wrong? And if it goes wrong, what is at stake? This is the thing. When the odds are high, it tends to blind our judgment. When stakes are high, you don't reason straight. It's always I call upon ourselves to always recall yourself to be rational. And even not rational. Rational is a bit of a statement. Be reasonable. Be reasonable. You might not be rational, because a lot of our decisions that we make are affected by our personal lives. And every time I make our financial decisions, I want to go home and look at my daughter and ask myself, whatever I'm making, will it affect her life? I want to go and look at my wife, right? I know we do a lot of finances. I'm an expert in finance. But I can tell you in personal decision, I don't use Excels. I don't use Excels. I don't use models. I don't use spreadsheets. Because personal finance, those decisions, you make them at the dinner table. When you look at your son in the eyes and think that whether the school she is best enough for him, whether your wife will be affected by investment you made somewhere. And especially as African men, sometimes we don't discuss our financial decisions with the wife. Because if you told her what is at stake, she'll run away that night. So we don't share. You are doing those decisions subconsciously. You are looking at her, she's calling you can't even reply. But you're doing some mathematics in your head, thinking, will it affect her? Will it affect your son? So this is very important. Finance know that a lot of things that affect finance is low probability. They have low probability, but the impact is very serious. So don't overlook those low probability events. The other one is human biases. We always suffer human biases. And I know we have maybe psychologists here, and there are a lot of human biases that we can talk about. Something like overconfidence. And this is what I want to say, that history gives us false confidence. But I want to say this, that things that have never happened always happen, right? Things that have never happened. In fact, that is it, life. Things that have never happened, that we never imagined, always happen. So human biases, when you are confident, you tend not to reason properly. You tend not to make decisions in the right way. So it's good to understand what are your biases. Human nature, by any fact, is we tend to be very selfish. And when you're selfish, I don't know why we love ourselves so much, but I don't know why we let the decision of others affect us. When it comes to opinion, we love others' opinion more than ourselves. So it's good to be conscious of your biases. What biases do you suffer? And when you have those biases, if you're someone who has confidence, then it's good to lower your confidence and be reasonable and rational when you're making those decisions. And the other point is about money is very important, because in medical field, you're not versed with a lot of knowledge of finance. And I want to say this, money is ubiquitous. Meaning that something that is happening in South Africa about money will affect your money in Kenya, even if you don't know. Something that is happening about money in treasury, even if your money is in KCB here, will affect you. So pay attention. You might not go to the deep learning of finance, but at least have some know-how of what is happening, how it affects you. When you say that inflation is at 7%, I know a lot of you are maybe, okay, it's inflation, but I have the money, right? So I want you to just think, how is that affecting me and my investment? If I say that the unemployment level in Kenya has gone low, you're like, yes, me, I'm employed. It's okay, it's them. But this is the thing. I know you're employed, but tomorrow you'll take your savings, go put an apartment in the suburbs of Nakuru. But now, because there's a high unemployment, the occupancy rate in that house of yours will be more than 80%. And because that house is financed, the bank will tell you, you're very sorry, we love you and your client, but then we are here to protect. This money is not ours. Kuna mtu mwingine anatuda. So pole sana. So it's very good to pay attention to things that affect money, right? Then the other one is understand your own game. Understand the game you're playing. Don't play the game of your friend. Don't play a game because the KMA Association chairman said so. Understand your game and be intentional about it. What is your future? How are your goals? And then what are you doing to reach them? Because you can have your goals, but you want to behave like someone else, and those are not your goals. So understand your own game. Then the last one is the highest dividend of money is time. That is very crucial. Time to do what? Time to do what you love. The highest, I know there are many definitions of happiness, but I think the ultimate definition of happiness is that freedom to do what you want when you want to do it. That is ultimate happiness. And how does this come about? I know we have medical field is a bit a stable field, and I think we have never had enough doctors. So medical people are never bothered about unemployment or loss of income. That is, I doubt here there's anyone who has never thought about being unemployed. You are unemployed. Thank you so much. Now, at least you have an example. This is the thing. When you have some income and to the point of margin of safety, it gives you some flexibility and time. It gives you and says that the government is not treating us very well. I'll not work for the government. I'll resign, take some time, and start my own clinic. Okay? Time is to say that I can even take a break. I'm a bit tired. Right? I feel fatigued. I can take some time, go sleep, and just rejuvenate and come back. That is time. Time is to say that sometimes you can just wake up and do nothing and your life goes on. Okay? Time is everything. So when you're investing, you want to buy time, because money is exchange of time. The reason you wake up in the morning is to get money. So if you had the money, you would not wake up and go work, right? So it's always good to know that the dividend and the investment process, and the day, you want that accomplishment of time. That if you ever dreamt of putting your own clinic somewhere, that you have this money that has enabled you to set your own clinic, that today you can wake up and your clinic is running and you just relax and you go with your son to watch some football and you're happy. I know medical field is one of very tasking field. Sometimes you never have time. But those things that you don't have time for cost you later. You want to wake up, you don't want to meet your kids' meeting or games day, right? But when you're so squeezed about money, when you're about to get bankrupt, those things you don't do because you walk a very thin line. So that is very important. And to the last of that point is that point at the end there, that progress happens too slowly, but disaster happens very fast. Progress happens too slowly to notice. Now, today you are saving 10,000. Before it gets to 1 million, to be same time. But to lose that 1 million, it will take one event, and you ruined, and you're done, and you're desperate. And that goes to that margin of safety point. Make sure, whatever you do, avoid ruin. Don't take too much. And something else, don't invest in what you don't know. Because the other slide is very important because it's about risk, and that is what we suffer from. Continue the other. Okay, the other one? This one. This slide is very important because what can affect you? If you see at this, I made this slide intentionally, and if you look at, these are screenshots of a newspaper. This is not my own creation. This is Business Daily. If you look, home buyers risk losing millions. Those are millions of people. Home ownership is in doubt after 3 billion SACCO is shut down. Look at those statements. I have deleted the names of whoever was affected in terms of the company. But that slide is very important because risk is what you don't see. Risk is what you don't see. I will tell you this, please. It doesn't matter how much you're being promised in terms of return. If you don't understand what they are doing, keep your money. Keep your money by yourself. Because in jargons, that is where you lose it. This country, we've experienced a lot of financial disasters. From the days of Imperial Bank and even Nakuru. There are some people who had bought commercial paper in Nakuru. When it went down, they lost their money. This is the thing. Risk is what you don't see. And what you don't see, you don't think about, right? What you can't see, you can't think about it. Anytime you're doing investment, please, if I can't come and explain that investment to you like a 5-year-old, comprehend. The thing with us, we don't understand risk. We'll have return, right? I want to tell you, give me 1 million shillings, tomorrow it will be 3 million. That one will be very happy. But every time, for every percentage increase in return, ask yourself, how much am I risking? Ask that person. Don't even wonder about return because you have the money, right? Money is yours and you really have it. Ask, how much am I risking? What is at stake if I give you this money? And that is what differentiates investing and gambling. The stakes of gambling is either you win or you lose. You don't want that game. So every time someone tells me that I have this investment product that will return 15%. All right. Okay, 15%. A lot of people will give that money. I've talked to a lot of people, and the moment I tell them, okay, invest in things like treasury bill, it'll give you 7% or 8% return. And they're like, 8%? But someone came here and he told me that he can give me 16%. He didn't ask, so what were you risking to get that 16%? Because investment is a risk-return balance. If you cannot comprehend about risk, don't invest. If you don't know what you're staking, don't invest. Because I've said and initially, please try to increase the odds of success on your end. The moment those odds of success decrease, one mistake can be fatal and you'll never recover. So every time someone comes with an investment product or with a project or with a proposal, don't mind about the return. First ask, what is at stake here? If it doesn't pan well, what am I losing? What's the probability of loss? I've seen some product structure and they tell you that we are giving up to 20% return. But if you look at the disclaimer, they tell you that this investment, you have a possibility of losing all your entire money. But that line is very thin. Hata huwezi isoma. Iko pale terms and conditions. Unatik tu, nimekubali, tusonge mbele. Utapewa hiyo 20% siku mbili, alafu siku ya tatu wakwambia unajua pesa zilipotea. What do? You lost. So that is it. And I think I don't want to talk. I think I've taken a lot of some time. I can see I'm out of time. I just want to speak about one thing: bonds and equities. I think that was the major topic that I was able to talk about. But I felt it's good to lay some foundation on what I was trying. So equities, there are different level categories of equities. There are those research that securities exchange. It's called quoted equities. There are unquoted equities. There are private equity, the ones that are telling you that people put money together and invest in your business for a return. And then there is ETFs. There's an ETF at our market called the gold. If you want to get exposure in gold, you can buy an ETF called the new gold ETF. It's from South Africa. Then when you go to the features of equities, here requires you to have to be a moderate risk person. If you are a low risk person, then maybe equities are not suitable for you, because equities does not guarantee your principal, right? So meaning that if you buy a share of Safaricom today at 38 shillings, if tomorrow it goes to 30 shillings, then you have lost 30 shillings, 8 shillings of the money you put in, not of your profits, of the money you put in. So you need to understand the risk. But equities over time, they pay, but then that one requires you to understand the type of company you're investing in, how solid it is, and how risky it is, so that you had pick. You don't just invest in any company. You had pick. Don't invest with emotions. Even if you like whatever company so much, you endear their colors. You know an uncle who works there. Don't invest. Invest based on fundamentals. And we have a research department that we always advise you on what best equities to invest in that are stable, that will not risk you out of the historical and out of their performance and the outlook. Just jump onto the other slide. So this is the equity performance. You can see over time it's gone up, but this is what happens. Even if the graph is going up, you can see it is oscillating, right? So meaning that you see over time it's gone up, but from this point to this point here, this is someone who lost. So if you bought here and sold here, even if the overall trajectory is up, you lost money, right? So timing is very important in terms of equities. You have to know when to enter, when to exit, and what time you are invested. The differentiator between an investor and what we call a trader is a trader will take gambles during the day or during the month. But an investor is someone who maybe you put money and you believe in this company for the next 1 year, 2 years, it will give you return. Those are people who benefit in investing. There's a thin line between investing and gambling. Investment is well thought. Gambling is taking. Let's go to the other slide, please, about bonds. Because this one I feel is for, especially for people in medical field, it resonates very well. Why? Because bonds, I want to explain to you, maybe, I don't know whether, I know we have people here who never, maybe don't know how maybe even the government operates. What is a bond? When the government gives a budget, you all know that revenues lag the budget. Meaning that if you're saying we are going to spend 3 trillion today, we don't have, KRA doesn't have money. So this money will be corrected later. How does the government then pay your salary? It has to go to the market, issue a bond. In other words, borrow money from individuals, banks, institutions that they used to run that the day-to-day operations, and then they for a return to those investors, waiting for KRA to correct the money. Okay? So one, bond is very, it's at the low end of risk. It has the low, I think, I don't want to call it riskless, but it's almost riskless, because this is the government. I know there are worries about our debt levels, but I can tell you if the government collapses due to debt, even your rand in Kamugisha is valueless. So when you have a government is the ultimate risk bearer. If the government collapses, you don't have anything, right? So bond is the utmost, is a low end of risk. So if you're not someone who can take shocks, if you're not someone who understands financial jargons and mathematics and models, this is the best suitable investment. You buy a bond, it tells you that if you give me 1 million shillings, I'll return 12% every year, and your principal is guaranteed. So this 12% you receive in tranches of semi-annual. So if you have 1 million, the bond has a coupon, something called a coupon of 12. So 12% of 1 million is about 20,000, right? So they give you 60,000. After 6 months, then another 60,000. At the end of the year, and your principal is there, guaranteed. And the beauty of it is, when and where you need the money, you can sell the bond, get your money back, and move on. Right? So that is how the bond works. But the key issue here is that I know there's I don't want to talk about so much size because I don't have time. I said investment is a bit of it. I'm talking about this treasury. So bills are bonds of less than 1 year. You have 3 months, 180 days, 365 days. Then bonds, anything above 1 year, that is a bond. The thing with tenor is because tenor determines return. The lower the duration, the lower the return. So if you're putting a bond for 2 years, the returns are higher than a T-bill of 6 months. So that is critical. And I think there's a lot of other things in terms of valuation and everything, but to the basics, that is it. It's a very low risk investment, suitable for people who are at a low end of the risk, people who cannot take shocks, don't have time to analyze investments and such. So bonds, bonds and equities, we facilitate you. We can facilitate from you buying and selling it. If you walk to a branch in Nakuru, our guys will get you in touch with us and will assist you in that investment. So I think I'm out of time. I don't want to go past there. I think I've raised some value. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Timothy. I think he deserves another one. Timothy, your talk has been quite enlightening. I know there is going to be a lot of questions, and we beg that you don't leave, because we're going to have a session for question and answer, including Cosmos. Please stay around. We are going to allow questions. I know you have so many clarifications you wish from Timothy. That is going to be done. Next, I wish to invite someone I know, a colleague, a medical practitioner in this town with a lot of interest in public health and healthcare management and financing, who happens to be our medical director, Nakuru County, Director of Medical Services, Dr. Winaina. Dr. Winaina will give his remarks and officially declare this gathering open, after which Dr. Winaina will oversee the invitation of our keynote speaker. So, Dr. Winaina, karibu.
Thank you very much. I know we are pressed for time, so I'll be very brief. As you've heard, my name is Dr. Daniel Winaina. I'm currently deployed as the Director of Medical Services for this county of Nakuru. We'll give a few remarks, mostly a welcome remark, and thereafter welcome our keynote speaker, who is the highlight of the day. So our President, KMA President, Dr. Were, and your team, our Vice President, Dr. Otara, our division leadership led by Dr. Mugambi, other KMA officials, distinguished doctors, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am delighted and humbled to stand before you and happy to see all of you. And those who are physically present here and those joining us remotely. Indeed, this is a very unique AGM, the first ever that we have the hybrid system. I'm also very happy to be in the presence of senior colleagues and eminent doctors like our keynote address, the one who will give our keynote address, Dr. Luch. And I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the Department of Health Services and the County Government of Nakuru to welcome you to Nakuru County. This is a county of unlimited opportunities, and it's a county of many beginnings. Recently, our county has been voted or nominated or listed as the fastest growing county in the sub-Saharan Africa, the sub-Saharan region. And this is the home of many greats I can see in the room we have senior citizens, and I would want to encourage that if you have not settled in this town, I think you need to think about it. This is the home of all our former presidents and even the current president, including the former president of the Supreme Court. And therefore, make this town or make this county your retirement home. As you think about investment, and as we've been told, make settling Nakuru one of the wealth that you're going to have. I want to say that the Department of Health Services in Nakuru County really appreciates the good working relationship we've had with KMA. And we have been working together to make sure that we are part of the KMA's vision and mission in terms of making sure that the welfare of doctors is looked at from the department side, and also the improvement of healthcare to the people we serve in Nakuru. A lot has happened since our last AGM, especially the global pandemic that has had profound impact on individual doctors and the entire health system. And I really want to commend the KMA members who have taken lead in the battle against the COVID-19 pandemic. I note with a lot of gratitude that KMA has been in the front line, participating in the joint response plan together with the county government of Nakuru, and also at individual levels. And I would really want to thank some of the people here individually. You can see Dr. Njoki has just stepped out. Dr. Wainaina and Dr. Gadhiri have really been in the front line, not just attending to the general patients, but to colleagues who were affected by the pandemic. As we speak, around 275 healthcare workers have been affected by COVID-19 in this county, and I'm happy that most of them all of them have recovered, and this is thanks to the efforts of the KMA members, some of them who are seated here. Currently, Nakuru continues to report a low number of COVID-19 cases, but we maintain a cautious optimism, being cognizant of what is happening across the world, in South Africa, in Europe, and in America. And it's good that in the beginning we started with a talk on COVID-19 and the hope that vaccination brings to this scenario. So healthcare has continued to evolve over the times, mostly driven by the industrial revolution of the 18th, 19th, and 20th century, and also shaped by many public health events, pandemics included. And the current pandemic coming at a time of the fourth industrial revolution, that is issues of internet, artificial intelligence, and all that will shape the future of healthcare delivery. The future doctor will face many challenges, including a more enlightened and knowledgeable and litigious patient, but we'll also have an advantage of technology, availing and sharing knowledge and skills in real time. And this calls for quick adoption and tailoring our training and practice accordingly. So the big question will be, what will be the role of KMA in this rapidly changing landscape? As we ponder about our future doctors, I call upon all of us to be proactive in shaping this future. Let us provide the leadership in the health space that has been taken over by business and other interests. And this business and other interests is quickly choking and edging out doctors. So we must be on the lookout, and we must be proactive. We must ask ourselves very hard questions like, who runs the healthcare system in this country? Who owns the healthcare places that you practice as doctors? And what is your role in all this? I think yesterday I saw a post in our KMPDU Facebook page by one of our colleagues in Nakuru that highlighted how most of us are not interested in what is happening around, but soon we may find that lack of interest edging us out of our own space. I don't want to ask you how many have read the BBI and what is there. but I took the liberty to look at the current document, and I searched for Health Service Commission because I think that's what I've heard most doctors talk about. It is a one-page, it's mentioned in one page, one line rather, and it is said that a group of individuals are pushing for Health Service Commission. That is all that is in that document. We must be proactive as KMA to make sure that our interests are included in major decisions that are going to actually affect how we live moving forward. As I conclude, fellow doctors, I want to challenge all of us, and especially the leadership, that we shall put in place in this AGM to live up to the mission of the founders of KMA. And I'm glad that one is here, JA. The welfare of doctors and safeguarding professionalism and quality of care in Kenya. Young doctors continue to graduate from the ever-growing medical schools, locally and internationally. And for the first time, we have a pool of unemployed doctors, and one of them has just told us is in this room. While this situation is sad, the reality on the ground is that unless drastic measures are taken, the future doctor is not guaranteed a job as was a few years back. The devolved units, which are currently the biggest employers of doctors, will continue to appear like they want to frustrate doctors unless fundamental changes are made, including addressing the thorny issues of postgraduate trainings. The situation where an employer has half of the staff away on long-term training is not tenable. And as we speak, Nakuru County has around 60 doctors in school for long periods of up to 5 years who are on full salary and are not giving the service that they're supposed to be giving at the point of work. Whereas we appreciate that training is very important, this function is ideally the function of the national government. But when the county takes it up, and this is where we really need the support of all of our association and the unions and all that to go on a table with the other decision makers to make sure that this function is taken up where it's supposed to be, so that this space that is left by those doctors on training can enable us employ the doctors who are seated here and are not employed. Otherwise, being that health is devolved, the department looks at what is best, optimizing for what the resources that they have. And we cannot have half or more than half of our staff away on training for 5 years and still continue to give the services that is expected of us. And that makes us appear like we are enemies of doctors. But I want to declare that I've been a member of KMA in this division for the last 15 years and cannot be the enemy of the doctor. It is just the reality on the ground is that we need to be proactive to change the way things are done. And for us who are senior and seated in this room should think about the younger doctor and the generations of doctors to come and be proactive to bring the change that we want to get. Otherwise, we are going to go the route where, like our colleagues, the lawyers, they are not guaranteed of any employment after school. Engineers don't have jobs ready for them after school. And sadly, the doctors are heading there. I want to urge the older doctors and the senior doctors to hold the younger ones' hands. We have had a situation where in Nakuru we've been adapting and holding the hands of our younger colleagues, but that may not be enough. We need to look at mentoring them. We also need to employ them. We are employers, and some of them are seated in this room. And even for our own continuity of the practice we've invested for a very long time, are you mentoring someone to take over your practice? Or will your practice end when you are no longer able to give the service that you offer at the moment? I would also wish to challenge doctors to invest in healthcare and establish good facilities that will attract clientele. Health is a business. We've always talked about health as a service, but the reality is all successful models, including some in government, including in this county, are run as businesses. And that's the only way we are going to ensure that we have a thriving health system. Let us invest in our own space, and from there we are going to solve some of the problems that we are having of doctors who are jobless. Having said that, His Excellency the Governor of Nakuru County has offered some incentives, which we will have a round table, a second one, because we've had an investors conference before, where he's even offered land. If you're able to come up together as doctors, invest and put up 5-star hospital facilities or health services. Because he says that like where we are is a good hotel. We have 5-star hotels in Nakuru. We have the best, we supply the biggest quota of cut flowers in Europe from Naivasha. We have the biggest renewable energy plants in Naivasha, Menengai and other places in terms of geothermal. We are coming up with an industrial park in Maimahiu. There is already a dry port in Maimahiu and other developments. But where is health? If any of the senior citizens and former presidents that I've mentioned are taken ill, they are rushed to Nairobi. Why not? Why can't that be done here? So it's a challenge to all of us, and soon the department will be issuing a request for proposals to provide specialized services and these will come to KMA members, and we need to position ourselves accordingly. In addition to that, my office, that of the Director of Medical Services, is also going to convene a round table where we'll discuss how we work moving forward. Our pyramid, when you look at the number of doctors in Nakuru County, we have more specialists than general medical officers. It's a situation that has not been there before. But with the large number I've also mentioned that is in school, we must sit down and make sure that we deploy these skills in the most efficient way so that everyone is happy, we get value for money as the employers, but you're also given your space to grow and to also look at areas of specialization and more sub-specialization. Finally, I want to quote the words of Mahatma Gandhi that it is health that is real wealth, not pieces of silver or gold. Let us take care of our individual health as doctors. We have seen what we have gone through in terms of the pandemic. Some of us have comorbidities, some of us have other issues. I think everything we do, if we are not going to take care of our own health, will come to naught. I wish to stop there and wish all of us a pleasant stay in our great county of Nakuru. Because of time, I'll not tell you that this county has the most number of lakes in this country. I don't know whether you knew that. We have 5 heading to 6 lakes. You have Lake Nakuru, Lake Elementaita. Lake Naivasha was 2 until recently. There was Lake Naivasha and Lake Oloiden. We have a crater lake at Longonot. And we also have another lake called Solai, not very far from here. Among many other things, we have the second biggest caldera in Africa, Menengai crater, where we are the foot of that crater. So take time. Jay, don't go back to Nairobi very fast before you explore some of these very unique features. Now, at this point, it's my humble pleasure to welcome the keynote speaker. The reason many of us are here. I want to introduce Dr. James Aluoch. I think apart from him being the founder of KMA, his introduction is longer than my speech, but I'll try to I'll try to be brief. So Dr. Joseph Aluoch is a patron of Kenya Association for Prevention of TB and Lung Diseases. He qualified from Makerere University with the MBCHB in 1968. I don't want to ask where most of us were then. He was awarded with the membership of the Royal College of Physicians, the UK, in 1974, followed by another diploma from Wales with a distinction in 1975, and a diploma in epidemiology in 1976. His previous responsibilities include Director, Communicable Diseases, Ministry of Health in Kenya, National TB Program Manager and Director, TB and Respiratory Disease Research at KEMRI, Honorary Lecturer at Department of Medicine, University of Nairobi, Consultant Chest Physician, Kenyatta National Hospital, and Head of Infectious Diseases at the hospital, Director Training, consulting for WHO and other global organizations. He is a past chair of the Kenya Medical Association, indeed a founder chairman of KMA, Kenya Association of Physicians, patron, and Kenya Association for Prevention of TB and Lung Diseases. Past chair of so many societies, and so I'm going to skip that. He's a past vice president of the Commonwealth Medical Association, current president of Pan-African Thoracic Society, and chairman of HIV Clinician Society of Kenya. He also oversees the representative Royal College of Physicians of Edinburgh. I think I want to stop there and welcome our keynote speaker, the JA, to address this meeting. Thank you very much. The meeting is declared open.
Thank you. Can we stand up for 20 seconds to stretch ourselves? Put your arms up and take a deep breath. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I must say I was confused when I had the introduction from the Director of Medical Services. I thought he was talking about somebody else that sounded familiar, but I got a feeling some of it might have applied to me. But first and foremost, let me take this opportunity to thank your chairman, Joy Mugambi, for inviting me and giving me this honor. This is a good memory, as Dr. Mbito will remember well. 1986, when I came here, I was the secretary of KMA. The late Abdallah was the chairman when we came to open this branch for the first time. Nakuru branch, it never existed, just in case you thought it's been there for long. Just was 86, and at that time we had the funds from the national AIDS, no national, but AIDS campaign. We came to educate the doctors in Nakuru on what AIDS, because most of them didn't know what AIDS was and they didn't know what to do with it. So thank me very much. I did come and enlighten them, and now they're very good in AIDS. Makofi kwangu. So as I wish I could go to my slides, then I could be able to use, yes. I thought I would just go by your advice on talk about embracing technology in medical practice. This is a subject I've been talking about for 20 years at different forums in the medical profession. I like technology because I don't want to get older than technology. I want it to keep up with it. Can you go to the next slide? Now that's my own disclosure I have. Can you go to the next slide? Can you go to the next slide? We're all familiar with pandemic, and that's why we have got a very small crowd. This is probably the smallest physical crowd I've addressed in my life, even when I was teaching classes. So I'm used to talking to many people, but like politicians, sometimes they say if there's not enough crowd, the meeting is called off. But we shall go on because now we are virtual. Now, the COVID pandemic has changed many things in the world, and most so in Africa and in Kenya. When it came, everybody went into lockdown, literally, closing schools, business, and medical meetings, and everybody went virtual. And that was the beginning of virtual meetings and online meeting education, and they've been doing research. And thus technology never more before became more effective and active. And even artificial intelligence, which I've talked previously before, became more reliable in doing research. You talked about this vaccine research this morning. What it didn't tell you that most of it is done by artificial intelligence these days. The human beings are just there to assist and such. So there are a lot of technology, even contact tracing, as you know, particularly in Korea. They use telephone, and Japan, they use telephone tagging apps to do contact tracing with people with HIV/AIDS. Did you know that? That's how technology has advanced, particularly during the COVID. Next one. But most of us know clearly that since 1996, Dr. Edwards introduced what is known as evidence-based medical practice. So all of you, when you do practice now, you ask yourself, what is the evidence for using this medicine? Even when they're talking about the COVID, everybody now practices medicine on the basis of evidence, that based on randomized clinical trial. Unfortunately, during COVID, it's not been possible to conduct any reasonable, meaningful evidence-based. Next slide. In this pandemic, it's not been possible because you cannot get evidence. Nobody has got the experience. There's no time. The first stage vaccine ever developed was the whooping cough vaccine, which took 5 years. The other have taken 100 years. It's now over nearly 40 years, and we've not been able to develop vaccine for HIV. It is now nearly 150 years, and we have not developed effective vaccine for TB. We have BCG, okay, fine, but we know very much that some people, the various trials have shown that effectivity ranges from 0 to 25%. In some places, 0. So we are at the moment in the pandemic, it's impossible to get any evidence base. Next one. And ICT has really gone up in information communication technology in the last 10 years, and it reached peak last year in 2020. In the year 2000, we used very little LCT, but now with the COVID pandemic, there's a lot of globalization of medicine. Now when you talk about vaccination, we're talking about the whole world, not just your country, and all the healthcare economics, patient medical processing, and mobile phone apps. Technology has indeed shot up in the last 1 year, like never seen before, like a meteorite. Next. If you combine ICT and medicine, you get telemedicine, which is now a major a tool in practicing ICT. Which is now the method of practicing medicine when it comes to communication, patients record, internet, equipment, and research. Next one. Now, ICT has a better thing than this. Okay. ICT has completely changed the face of medicine. All right. Next. Okay, let's move on for the sake of time. Next slide. No. Is this my mouth is a bit ice? Is this my mouth? I've got a virus. Now, e-health has completely transformed information system in the health services in works, and we can use telemedicine. Next one. We have to be quick because Dr. Mugambi is worried that the many slides we may not finish them. Next. Okay. Now, communication depends on various gadgets. Now, all of you know what GPRS stands for. It's okay. Over the years, people have been worried in medical research about the COVID vaccine. If you remember that COVID 1 year ago, make a vaccine, which is unheard of. Now, this is not due to proper clinical trial. This is strictly due to IT. Afford to take it to 5 so-called controlled clinical trial over 5 years. Next. And with this, okay. Now, technology COVID vaccine, I think the young doctor has already the completion of finding the most effective vaccine candidate. the production process, the scale is needed globally, and the storage requirement is. The technology in medicine offers a lot of things, but it also got some advantages, which I don't need to go into. Some of them, like cloning and I'm afraid you don't have better microphone than this. Okay. It means say that the current technology, while it's safe, telemedicine, as you know, has been used there for a long time. It actually started in Australia many years ago, using only a telephone. And most of you use telemedicine without realizing. Every time the nurse rings you about a patient and you give instruction, they give this drug, that's all the telemedicine, true or false, in a small sense. But it's basically delivering health care over distance, great distance sometimes, with the possibility of saving the cost and saving, saving the number of consultants you may need. So one consultant can maybe, you don't need 10 consultants in Nakuru. You can all be in Nairobi and we help you here and we give the, like radiology. You can also send your pictures to Nairobi, real time or store and forward, as you're all aware, and get the report. In fact, it makes life of virtual medicine very practical. And in fact, in radiology, that they have really advanced virtual medicine and telemedicine. So you don't need to be in the radiology department to do the reporting, unless you're doing some interventional radiologists. Most of them report at home day and night and give the report, even if the patient is in Garissa or whatever it is, through telemedicine. And it's basically a good technology which can be used for research, and where there's a shortage of medicine and you want to outreach, even people in Garissa or Turkana. Next. Now, telemedicine offers support in a lot of cases, and this is supplementary to the usual traditional medicine. But importantly, COVID-19, it reduces the procedural infection by avoiding patients coming to hospital. This has been very important all over the world. The number of patients coming to hospital have either been discouraged officially or they discouraged themselves. Many, I don't know what happened in Nakuru, but at least in Nairobi, many patients did not like to come to the hospital during the COVID. Even if they got diabetes or they got hypertension, they rather have medicine at home. In fact, in Nairobi hospital, we developed what's known as the courier service, online prescription. So you prescribe for the patient, he pays by M-Pesa. There's a courier which takes medicine to him, maybe in Siaya, Turkana, wherever. There are few discrete areas which were accessed by the most of the time. You can only do medicine on prescription. So that proved very useful during the pandemic. So it reduced the amount of clinic. May be infected by COVID, which I don't think they like very much. Next. Now this telemedicine in the something for the developed world, where they've got all the techno machines and home monitoring machines. In fact, in Europe, it's been developed to the point that even before they had blood sugar, they had ECG, everything at home. So they just attach to their computer and to themselves. State of the patient, you don't have to go to the clinic. This saved on the travel, travel cost, the hospital, and loading the outpatient, which is very good. And I'm sure. So one consultant in one in Nairobi, in Nakuru, can serve 1,000 people through telemedicine, rather than only serving 100 people. Work to do in developing countries as well. Next. And those are the things you can improve a lot of diagnosis in rural areas. So you don't have to have all those seminars. The MCA have to go and drink water, drink tea and alcohol, and generally. Same thing in dermatologists, and same thing in robots and image detection. Next. So artificial intelligence has certainly got more brains, and if, if only we could have more brains than we have, we can do it. If we could do with a pair of brains, we probably would match. Most of us only got one. Okay, next. So this is but the economy of this is that it will reduce the earning for doctors, because you're not going to claim most of the thing is done by AI. So nurses able, lab tests able to reduce their earning, unfortunately. You find ways of earning more money. Next. That is about, we're just coming on the end, that is about health informatics. And this particularly refers to nurses who are nurses in a meeting doing a report of the previous night, what happened the night. They're writing a lot of papers. That's now supposed to be. At least 3 hours in a day for most hospitals. Because in the morning, they have a nurses.
specifications so that we can learn more about reducing our egos so that we can save more, as Timothy told us. Just a quick reminder that KMA Nakuru has printed. Remember Timothy talked about printed t-shirts. We are going to, of course, gift you with a printed t-shirt. That is with KMA at the end of the day. And I request all members, we have branded t-shirts at 700 shillings outside. Support KMA. We are also having a representative from KMA Sacco. Get in touch with him. I think I'll be brochures spread over your.